The bright pieces of Kira's small spaceship fell across the Wyoming forest like stars dropping from the sky. Her job was to watch Earth from far away. The leaders of her people, the Lissarians, said humans were too simple to meet face to face. But something went wrong with her ship's engines as she flew into Earth's air. Now she was falling fast. Kira tried to control the ship, her six-fingered hands moving quickly over the light panels. Warning sounds filled the small space. The ship shook hard. Through the front window she saw trees coming closer and closer. Then came the crash. The impact threw Kira against her seat straps. Pain shot through her body. Smoke began to fill the cabin. She touched her head and saw blue blood on her fingers. Her skin, which normally changed colors with her feelings, was now a pale gray. Not a good sign. Outside, the broken pieces of her ship were on fire. The flames were getting closer to the ship's power core. If that exploded, nothing would be left of her or the ship. No one would know what happened to her. No one would come looking. Kira tried to move, but pain kept her in place. Her vision was getting dark around the edges. The emergency signal was working, sending a weak call for help into space, but her people were far away. Help would not come in time. As darkness started to take over her mind, Kira saw movement through the cracked window. A figure was coming closer, moving carefully through the smoke and fire. A human Lisa Morrison had been walking alone in the woods that day. After 3 long tours in combat zones, she needed quiet and peace. The forest gave her that, until the sky broke open with light and sound. She watched as something, definitely not a plane, came down through the clouds trailing smoke and fire. When it crashed about half a mile away, Lisa didn't think. She just ran toward it. Years of training took over. Someone might need help. The closer she got, the stranger the wreckage looked. The metal, if it was metal, seemed to flow like water in some places. It wasn't like any aircraft she had ever seen. Lisa saw movement inside what must be the cockpit. Someone was in there and the fires were spreading fast. Again, she didn't stop to think. She found a way to pull open what seemed to be a door. Though it opened in a strange spiral way, smoke poured out. Inside, Lisa froze for just a second. The person strapped in the seat wasn't human. The face was almost human-like, but the skin had a soft glow and seemed to shift color slightly. The eyes, barely open, had strange crescent-shaped pupils. Lisa had seen many things in war, but nothing like this. A small explosion somewhere in the ship snapped Lisa back to reality. Whatever this being was, it needed help. Lisa pulled out her knife and cut through the strange straps holding the alien in place. The being was lighter than expected as Lisa carefully lifted her out of the seat. Lisa had just cleared the wreckage when the main ship exploded. The force threw them both forward onto the ground. Lisa covered the alien's body with her own as pieces of the ship rained down around them. When it was over, Lisa checked the alien for injuries. Blue liquid, blood, she guessed, came from a cut on its head and from a wound on its side. "You're hurt," Lisa said, not knowing if the being could understand. "I need to get you somewhere safe." The alien's eyes opened wider for a moment, those strange pupils focusing on Lisa's face. Then they closed again as the alien lost consciousness. Lisa's cabin was not far. She carried the alien there, careful not to make the injuries worse. It was a risk. Everything she knew about military protocol said she should report this. But something inside told her that might not be the right thing to do. For 3 days, Lisa cared for the alien in her cabin. She cleaned the wounds as best she could and made a bed near the fireplace. The alien drifted in and out of consciousness. When awake, Lisa had decided the alien seemed female, watched Lisa with those strange eyes. Fear was there, but also wonder. On the 2nd day, the alien tried to speak. The sounds were like nothing Lisa had ever heard. Seeing that words wouldn't work, the alien pointed to herself and made a sound that might be her name. "Kira." Lisa tried to copy the sound. The alien nodded, then pointed at Lisa with a questioning look. "Lisa," she said, pointing to herself. They began to communicate through drawings and hand signs. Lisa learned that Kira came from far away to study Earth. Kira learned that Lisa was a soldier who helped people. Trust grew between them despite how different they were. On the 4th night, Lisa woke to a strange humming sound. Outside, lights moved through the trees toward her cabin. Kira was sitting up looking both sad and excited. She made gestures trying to explain that these were her people, coming to take her home. Before Lisa could ask any questions, Kira pressed something into her hand. It was a small crystal that seemed to have light moving inside it. Then Kira touched Lisa's face gently, a gesture of thanks. The door opened without anyone knocking. Two tall figures stood there wearing suits that seemed to bend light around them. They nodded to Lisa but said nothing as they helped Kira to her feet. "Will I see you again?" Lisa asked, knowing they probably couldn't understand her. Kira looked back once before disappearing into the night with her rescuers. Her skin flashed a deep purple color, but Lisa had no idea what that meant. After they left, Lisa stood in the doorway for a long time looking up at the stars. In her hand, the crystal Kira had given her felt warm. Lisa didn't know it then, but this small gift would one day call Kira back to Earth. When both their worlds faced a danger neither could fight alone. 7 years passed since the night Kira left Earth. Lisa had moved on with her life. She no longer served in the military. The memories of war had slowly faded, replaced by the quiet peace of her new job as a forest ranger. Every day she walked the same woods where she had found Kira's crashed ship. No trace of it remained now. Sometimes Lisa wondered if she had imagined the whole thing. But the small crystal Kira had given her sat on Lisa's fireplace shelf. It didn't glow anymore. It looked like just a pretty rock. Lisa kept it as a reminder that the universe was bigger and stranger than most people knew. Far away from Earth, across vast stretches of space, Kira was no longer the young scout who had crashed on a forbidden planet. She now wore the marks of a fleet commander on her uniform. The small cut on her head from the crash had left a thin scar that turned silver when she was deep in thought. Kira stood on the bridge of her command ship, looking at a large map of stars floating in the air before her. Several stars on the map glowed red. Those were worlds that had fallen to the Murakari Empire. "Another colony lost contact yesterday," said Terran, Kira's second in command. "That's the third this month." Kira's skin darkened with worry. The Murakari were moving faster now. They were not like any enemy the Lysarians had faced before. They weren't truly alive, at least not in a way Kira understood. They were partly machine, partly grown tissue, all connected to one mind. They didn't want to rule other worlds. They wanted to consume them, breaking down all life and technology to add to themselves. "What do the High Council members say?" Kira asked. Terran made a gesture that meant frustration. "They argue while our worlds fall. Some want to try peace talks again. Some want to run and hide. None of their old ways of thinking will work against the Murakari." Kira turned from the map. "We need new allies." "The Forbidden Worlds?" Terran asked, his skin flashing with surprise. "Yes," Kira said. "Especially Earth." Terran looked shocked. "Humans are too violent, too divided. The Council would never allow it." "Humans are creative," Kira said. "They think in ways we don't. The Murakari can predict our patterns because we've fought the same way for 1,000 years. Humans change how they fight all the time, and they're good at it." Later that day, Kira stood before the High Council. The 7 oldest and wisest Lysarians sat in a half-circle, their skin showing deep blues of wisdom and authority. "Fleet Commander Kira," said the first voice of the Council, "you suggest breaking our oldest law. Earth has been forbidden for good reasons." "Those reasons don't matter if the Murakari destroy us all," Kira answered. "Our scouts have detected their ships moving toward Earth's solar system. They will find humans eventually. Perhaps the Murakari will eliminate the human problem for us," said another council member. Kira felt her skin heat with anger, turning bright orange. "I have been to Earth, I have met humans. Yes, they can be violent and short-sighted, but they can also be kind and brave. One of them saved my life when she had no reason to help me." The council members looked at each other, their skin colors shifting as they shared thoughts in the way of their people. "Even if we wanted human help," the first voice finally said, "how would we make them understand the danger? They would see us as invaders." "Not all of them," Kira said. "Let me contact the human who helped me. She will listen. She can help her people understand." After hours of debate, the council agreed to a compromise. Kira could contact one human, the one she had met before. If that human could convince her leaders to meet with the Lysarians, then maybe a larger contact could happen. But Kira would go alone in a small ship, taking no weapons. In her quarters that night, Kira opened a small box she kept near her sleeping area. Inside was a drawing Lisa had made during their short time together. It showed 2 stick figures, one human and one Lysarian, standing side by side under 2 moons. Kira had tried to explain that her world had 2 moons, and Lisa had drawn this to show she understood. Kira picked up a device from her desk. It would activate the crystal she had given Lisa. Across the galaxy, that crystal would receive the signal and show Lisa where to meet Kira. Kira added a copy of the drawing to the signal, hoping Lisa would remember what it meant. Kira pressed the activation switch. Now all she could do was wait and hope. Back on Earth, Lisa was making dinner in her cabin when a strange light caught her eye. The crystal on her shelf was glowing again, pulsing with a soft blue light. As Lisa watched, the crystal floated up from the shelf. A beam of light shot out from it, forming a picture in the air. Lisa's heart beat faster. It was a map of stars with one point glowing brighter than the rest. As she watched, the star map faded and was replaced by a drawing. Lisa gasped. It was the picture she had drawn for Kira 7 years ago. The two figures under two moons. Kira, Lisa whispered. The crystal pulsed once more, then settled back onto the shelf, still glowing softly. Lisa stood frozen, her dinner forgotten. Kira was coming back. But why now, after all this time? The star map had shown a location not far from Lisa's cabin, a mountain lake she knew well. Lisa grabbed her jacket and the crystal. Whatever was happening, she needed to be there when Kira arrived. In orbit high above Earth, sensors on military satellites detected an object approaching. It was small and moving in a way no human ship could move. Alerts went up the chain of command. Inside secret rooms at the Pentagon, people in uniform watched screens and wondered if the day they had long prepared for had finally arrived. Object is slowing, reported an Air Force officer. It's changing course to avoid our satellite network. Activate air defense systems, ordered a general. Wait, said another officer, looking at her screen. It's not heading for any major city or military base. Based on its course, it's going to land somewhere in Wyoming. Wyoming? The general asked. There's nothing out there but trees and a few small towns. Maybe that's the point, sir, the officer said. If I were making first contact, I wouldn't head for the White House or a military base either. The general thought for a moment. Keep tracking it, but hold fire unless it changes course. And get me satellite images of wherever it lands. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. As the sun set over the Wyoming mountains, Lisa waited by the shore of a quiet lake. The crystal in her hand was pulsing faster now, the light getting brighter. Lisa wasn't sure what to expect. Would there be a big ship with many aliens? Would Kira even remember her? The surface of the lake began to move strangely, as if something was affecting the water from below. A circle of light appeared under the surface. Lisa took a step back as the water began to rise in the center of the circle. A shape emerged from the water, sleek and smooth, with no sharp edges. It wasn't like any aircraft Lisa had ever seen. It didn't make a sound as it rose and moved toward the shore, hovering just above the ground. A part of the ship's side seemed to melt away, creating an opening. A figure stood there, backlit by a soft light from inside. Then the figure stepped forward and Lisa saw her clearly for the first time in 7 years. Kira had changed. She wore armor that seemed alive, with patterns of light moving across its surface. Her skin had more markings than before and she stood straighter, with the confidence of someone used to giving orders. But her eyes were the same, those strange crescent pupils that widened when they saw Lisa. The stars have memories, Lisa Morrison, Kira said in perfect English, her voice musical and strange. And I have not forgotten your courage. Lisa couldn't speak for a moment. Hearing her own language from Kira's mouth was shocking. Finally, she found her voice. You learned our language. I learned many things, Kira said, her skin shifting to a warm golden color, including that I was right to trust you. Her color darkened to a deep blue. And now I must ask for your help again. This time, the lives of both our worlds depend on it. Lisa stood by the lake, trying to understand what was happening. The alien she had saved years ago was back, speaking perfect English and saying both their worlds were in danger. You said both our worlds, Lisa said carefully. What kind of danger are we talking about? Kira's skin rippled with dark colors. It would be easier to show you. She held out her hand. Will you come inside my ship? I promise you will be safe. Lisa hesitated only for a moment before nodding. Lead the way. Inside, the ship was larger than it looked from outside. The walls seemed alive, pulsing with soft light. There were no sharp corners anywhere. Everything curved in smooth, flowing lines. Kira led Lisa to the center of the main room. She touched a panel on her wrist armor, and suddenly the room changed around them. The wall seemed to disappear, replaced by a view of stars and planets. This is the Lysarian home system, Kira explained, as planets floated around them. My people have lived in peace for thousands of years. The image changed, showing a different star system. Here, the planets looked wrong. Their surfaces were covered in strange geometric patterns like circuits on a computer chip. These are worlds taken by the Murakari, Kira said. They are not truly alive as we understand life. They are partly machine, partly grown tissue. They take over planets, using all resources to make more of themselves. Lisa watched as the image zoomed in on one planet. She could see cities being taken apart piece by piece. Huge factory-like structures grew where forests and oceans had been. They don't leave anything behind, Kira continued. No life, no water, no natural resources. Just empty worlds covered in their structures. And now they're heading toward your solar system. Lisa felt cold fear in her stomach. How long do we have? Months, not years, Kira said. A small scout force is already approaching. They will study your defenses, learn your weapons, find your weaknesses. Why come to me? Lisa asked. I'm not in the military anymore. I'm just a park ranger. Kira's skin brightened slightly. You are the only human who has met one of my kind and reacted with kindness instead of fear. I need someone who can help me talk to your leaders without causing panic. Your leaders know you're here? Yes, Kira nodded. The High Council has authorized me to make first contact with humans. But only through you? They fear that direct contact might cause panic or violence. Lisa ran her hand through her hair, trying to think. Our governments will want proof. Words won't be enough. I know, Kira said. She touched her wrist panel again. The view changed to show Earth beautiful and blue. Then it showed strange ships approaching. Murakari ships with their sharp insect-like designs. Our sensors detected these 3 days ago, Kira said. They will reach Earth orbit in less than a week. Lisa felt her training kick in. This was no different than preparing for any other threat. Assess, plan, act. We need to go to Washington, she said. I know some people who might listen. But we'll need a way to get there without your ship being shot down. I can help with that, Kira said. This vessel can change how it appears to your radar systems. We can make it look like a small private plane. Lisa nodded. Good. And I'll need to make some calls first, prepare the way. There's something else you should know, Kira added, her skin turning a deep purple color. My people can offer Earth technology to help defend against the Murakari. But we need something in return. What? Lisa asked. Soldiers, Kira said simply. Human fighters. The Murakari can predict how Lysarians fight because we've used the same tactics for centuries. But humans, you fight differently. You adapt. You surprise. That unpredictability confuses the Murakari systems. Lisa understood. You want humans to fight your war. I want humans to fight for their own survival, Kira corrected. The Murakari will come for Earth whether you help us or not. Together we might stand a chance. The next morning, Lisa made several calls. First to her old commanding officer, Admiral Faye Winters, now working at the Pentagon. The conversation was short and careful. Lisa couldn't say much over an open phone line, but she said enough to get the Admiral's attention. You're saying you have information about an immediate threat to national security? Admiral Winters asked. Yes, Lisa replied. And I have a source with me. We need to meet in person as soon as possible. There was a pause on the line. This source, is it related to that incident 7 years ago? The one you never fully explained in your reports? Lisa took a deep breath. Yes, ma'am. Another pause. Come to the private airfield near Langley. I'll have a security team meet you there. Just you and your source. Next, Lisa called her friend Olivia Harris, a scientist who worked for NASA. If anyone would understand the science behind Kira's warnings, it would be Olivia. Lisa, it's been ages. Olivia's voice was warm with surprise. Olivia, I need a favor, Lisa said. I need you to check something for me. Have your deep space monitoring systems picked up anything unusual in the past week? Anything approaching Earth? The line went quiet for a moment. How did you know about that? Olivia finally asked, her voice lower. That information hasn't been released yet. Lisa felt her heart rate increase. I'll explain everything soon. Can you meet me in D.C. tomorrow? This sounds serious, Olivia said. It is, Lisa replied. More serious than anything we've ever faced. After ending the call, Lisa turned to Kira, who had been listening. We leave in an hour, Lisa said. Are you ready for this? Kira's skin swirled with colors. "I've been preparing for 7 years," she said. "The question is, are your people ready?" They flew east in Kira's ship, which now appeared on radar as a small private plane. Lisa sat beside Kira in the cockpit, watching as her hands moved over controls that seemed made of light rather than physical switches. "Your technology is amazing," Lisa said. "How do you make things that seem almost alive?" "Our technology grows rather than being built," Kira explained. "We guide its growth the way your farmers might guide plants, but with much more control." As they flew, Lisa asked the questions she hadn't had time for earlier. "How did you learn our language so perfectly?" "I've been studying Earth since I left," Kira said. "I captured many of your broadcasts, your television, radio, internet signals, all very easy to detect from space." "So you've been watching us all this time?" Kira's skin flushed slightly pink. "Not exactly watching, but learning. I wanted to understand your world better." "Why?" Lisa asked. Kira turned to look at her, those strange eyes serious. "Because you saved me when you had no reason to. That made me question everything I had been taught about humans being dangerous and primitive." Lisa smiled slightly. "We can be dangerous, and sometimes primitive. All species can be," Kira said. "But you can also be kind, creative, brave. My people need those qualities now." They landed at the private airfield as the sun was setting. A small group waited for them. Admiral Winters, 2 security officers, and to Lisa's surprise, Olivia Harris. "I asked her to come," Admiral Winters explained as they approached. "After your call, I checked with NASA. They've been tracking some very strange objects approaching Earth." All eyes turned to Kira as she emerged from the ship. Her skin was glowing softly in the dim light, and her alien features were impossible to hide. Admiral Winters stared, her face professional but her eyes wide. "So it's true," she said quietly. "You really did meet an alien 7 years ago." Olivia was less restrained. "This is incredible," she said, moving closer to examine Kira with fascination. "A true extraterrestrial intelligence. The biological implications alone are—" "Dr. Harris," Admiral Winters cut in sharply. "This isn't a scientific expedition. Agent Morrison says we're facing a threat." Kira bowed her head slightly to the Admiral. "Your world is indeed in danger, Admiral Winters. I've come to warn you and to offer help." The Admiral's expression hardened. "Let's continue this conversation somewhere more secure." They were taken to a small building at the edge of the airfield. Inside was a simple conference room with no windows. Security cameras were visible in each corner. "This room is shielded and secure," Admiral Winters said. "Now I want to hear everything. Start from the beginning." Lisa looked at Kira, who nodded. Together they began to explain the Mercari threat, the approaching scout ships, and the possible alliance between humans and Lysarians. "You're telling me that cybernetic aliens are coming to strip mine our planet, and our only hope is to join forces with your people?" the Admiral asked when they had finished. "Yes," Kira said simply. "And you expect me to bring this to the President based on your word alone?" Kira touched her wrist panel. A holographic display appeared above the table, showing the Mercari ships approaching Earth. "This is happening now," Kira said. "Your own scientists have detected these ships, yes?" She looked at Olivia. Olivia nodded slowly. "We've been tracking 3 objects moving through the solar system for the past week. They're not following normal orbital patterns. They're clearly under power, changing course in ways that defy physics as we understand it." Admiral Winters stared at the display for a long moment. "Even if I believe you, convincing the President and the Joint Chiefs won't be easy, and getting other countries to cooperate will be nearly impossible." "Then we must be very convincing," Kira said, her skin darkening with determination. "Because if Earth stands alone, it will fall, just as my world will fall if we fight alone." The next morning, Lisa woke early in the small room she'd been given at the secure facility. She'd barely slept, her mind racing with all that had happened. In just 2 days, her quiet life as a park ranger had been completely upended. Now she was about to help an alien convince world leaders that Earth was in danger. Lisa found Kira already awake, sitting cross-legged on the floor of her room, eyes closed. Her skin was cycling through soft colors in a rhythmic pattern. "Morning," Lisa said. "Is that some kind of meditation?" Kira opened her eyes, the crescent pupils adjusting to the light. "Something like that. We call it color breathing. It helps balance emotions and thoughts." "You're nervous too, then?" Lisa asked. "Yes," Kira admitted. The next few hours will decide the fate of both our worlds. Admiral Winters arrived an hour later with a team of security personnel. The National Security Council is assembled, she said. They're waiting for us at the Pentagon. The drive into Washington, D.C. was tense and silent. Kira watched through the car window as the city came into view, her eyes wide with interest despite the serious situation. Your buildings are so angular, she commented. On my world, structures flow and curve like they're part of the landscape. Lisa smiled slightly. Maybe someday I'll get to see your world. I hope so, Kira said softly. The Pentagon was on high alert when they arrived. Armed guards escorted them through checkpoints and down long hallways. People stopped and stared as Kira passed, some with fear, others with wonder. The conference room was large and imposing. A long table filled the center, surrounded by serious-looking men and women. Screens covered the walls showing maps and data. At the head of the table sat a woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes. The President's National Security Advisor, Diane Powell. Admiral Winters, Powell said as they entered. I see your guest is with you. Yes, ma'am, the Admiral replied. Commander Kira of the Lysarian Fleet and former Staff Sergeant Lisa Morrison. Powell's eyes narrowed slightly. I've been briefed on the situation, but I'm finding it hard to believe. You're claiming that hostile aliens are approaching Earth and that this other alien is here to help us? That's correct, Admiral Winters said. Then convince us, Powell said, gesturing to the empty chairs at the table. For the next 2 hours, Kira presented her case. She showed holographic images of Murakari ships and conquered worlds. She explained how the cybernetic beings operated, how they consumed entire planets for resources. Lisa supported her, describing her experiences and what she had seen. Olivia Harris presented NASA's data on the approaching ships, confirming they matched Kira's description of Murakari scout vessels. The room was silent when they finished. Powell leaned forward, her fingers steepled. Even if we accept all this as true, she said, what exactly are you proposing? Kira stood straighter. An alliance. My people can provide defensive technology to protect your world. Shield systems that can stop Murakari weapons. Communication systems to coordinate your forces. And in return? Asked a general sitting near Powell. We need human soldiers, Kira said. The Murakari adapt quickly to predictable tactics. My people have fought the same way for too long. Humans fight creatively. You use strategies the Murakari cannot easily predict. The general's eyebrows rose. You want our troops to fight your war? No, Lisa cut in. She wants us to fight together against a common enemy, one that's coming for all of us whether we cooperate or not. A heated debate followed. Some council members argued for immediate action, others for caution. Some wanted to try communicating with the Murakari first. They don't communicate, Kira said, her skin darkening with frustration. They consume. They analyze. They adapt. But they don't negotiate. Powell raised a hand for silence. This is the most significant decision any government has ever faced. We can't make it alone. We need to consult with other world leaders. There's no time, Kira insisted. The scout ships will arrive in days. A larger force follows behind them. Then we'll make time, Powell said firmly. I'm calling an emergency session of the United Nations Security Council. Representatives from every major power need to hear this directly. 3 days later, the UN headquarters in New York was locked down tight. Leaders and military officials from around the world had been summoned for an emergency session. The official reason given was a global security matter of utmost importance. Lisa stood at a window, looking out at the city. Behind her, Kira was preparing for her presentation. Are you ready for this? Lisa asked. Kira's skin showed swirls of blue and purple, determination mixed with concern. As ready as I can be. But will they listen? Your world has so many different governments, so many opposing views. That's humanity for you, Lisa said. We rarely agree on anything. But when we face a common threat, we can come together. I hope you're right, Kira said. The Security Council chamber was packed. In addition to the regular members, leaders from dozens of other nations had been invited. Armed guards stood at every entrance. Camera crews had been banned. This meeting was strictly classified. As Lisa and Kira entered alongside Admiral Winters and Powell, a hush fell over the room. Many of those present had been briefed on what they would see, but briefings couldn't prepare them for the reality of Kira's alien presence. The UN Secretary General, a tall man from Ghana, stood to address the room. Distinguished leaders, we face an unprecedented situation. What you are about to hear will challenge everything we know about our place in the universe. I ask only that you listen with open minds. For the next hour, Kira presented the same evidence she had shown at the Pentagon, but with more detail. Lisa noticed that she had adapted her presentation, emphasizing points that would resonate with different cultures and governments. When Kira finished, the chamber erupted in questions, concerns, and some outright disbelief. "How do we know this isn't some elaborate deception?" demanded the Russian representative. "Perhaps a pretext for some new American weapon system?" "My vessel is in orbit," Kira responded calmly. "Your own space agencies can confirm its non-terrestrial origin. And the approaching Murakari ships can be detected by any nation with advanced radar or satellite systems." The Chinese delegation conferred quietly before their leader spoke. "If these Murakari are as advanced as you claim, how can we hope to defeat them even with your help?" "Alone, neither of our species can win," Kira said. "Together we have a chance. My people have advanced technology but predictable tactics. Humans have less advanced technology but innovative strategies. Combined, we can confuse and defeat the Murakari systems." The debate continued for hours. Some nations were quick to support alliance, others remained skeptical. The tension in the room grew as reports came in from space agencies around the world, confirming the approach of unidentified objects. The Murakari Scout ships. "We cannot delay decision any longer," the Secretary General finally announced. "The Security Council must vote on whether to form this alliance and coordinate a global response." Lisa held her breath as the vote proceeded. One by one, the permanent members cast their votes. China, yes. France, yes. Russia, abstain. United Kingdom, yes. United States, yes. The motion carries, the Secretary General announced. "We will form an alliance with the Lissarian people against the Murakari threat. A global defense coordination center will be established immediately." As the meeting broke up, Lisa noticed several military leaders approaching Kira, already asking questions about the defensive technology she had offered. Others stood back, still wary of the alien visitor. Powell joined Lisa at the side of the room. "Well, former Sergeant Morrison, you've made history today. First human to befriend an alien, now key to forming humanity's first interstellar alliance." Lisa shook her head. "I just did what anyone would do. I helped someone who needed it." "Not anyone would have pulled an alien from a burning spacecraft," Powell noted. "You took a risk that day. We're all lucky you did." Later that evening, Lisa and Kira stood on the roof of the UN building looking up at the stars. Security guards kept a respectful distance, giving them a moment of privacy. "So what happens now?" Lisa asked. "My ship has sent the signal," Kira said. "The Lysarian fleet will arrive within days to help defend Earth. They bring the shield technology and weapons we promised. And human soldiers will join your fleet to fight the Murakari." Kira nodded. "Yes, joint training must begin immediately. The Murakari main force will not be far behind their scouts." Lisa looked at her alien friend. "Will you command the joint forces?" "The High Council has given me that authority, yes," Kira said. Her skin shifted to a warm gold color. "And I would like you to be my human liaison if you're willing." Lisa was surprised. "Me? I'm not even in the military anymore." "You understand both our peoples," Kira said. "You see beyond differences to find common ground. That's what we need now." Before Lisa could respond, a security officer approached. "Ms. Morrison, Commander Kira, there's an emergency. The Murakari scout ships have accelerated. They'll reach Earth orbit within hours, not days as projected." Kira's skin flashed with alarm. "We're not ready. The Lissarian fleet is still too far away." "The Security Council has reconvened," the officer continued. "World leaders are implementing the emergency defense protocols, but they need your guidance." 2 weeks after the first Murakari attack, Earth was a changed world. The existence of aliens could no longer be hidden from the public. People everywhere knew that humanity was not alone in the universe, and that it was at war. Lisa stood on the bridge of the Lysarian command ship, watching Earth through the large viewing window. From space, her home planet still looked peaceful, its blue oceans and swirling white clouds hiding the frantic activity below. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Kira said, joining her at the window. "So much water, so many different landscapes. I never thought I'd see it from this angle," Lisa admitted. Around them, the bridge buzzed with activity. Lysarian crew members worked at stations that seemed to be made of flowing light. Human officers moved among them, learning the alien systems and sharing their own knowledge. The Lysarian fleet had arrived 3 days after the scout ship attack. Just as the main Murakari force was detected entering the solar system, 7 sleek Lysarian vessels now orbited Earth, working with human spacecraft to create a defensive line. The training exercises are going well, Kira said. Human pilots are learning our flight patterns and we're adapting to your more creative approaches. Lisa smiled slightly. You mean our chaotic, unpredictable approaches? Exactly what we need against the Murakari. Kira nodded. Her skin showed the silver of hope mixed with the deep blue of command responsibility. A young human officer approached them. Commander Kira, Ms. Morrison, Admiral Winters is requesting your presence in the war room. The Murakari fleet has changed course again. The war room was a large chamber at the heart of the ship. Its walls displayed a complete view of the solar system, with the positions of all known vessels clearly marked. Admiral Winters stood with several other human and Lysarian officers around a central table. They've split their forces, the Admiral said without preamble as Lisa and Kira entered. 2/3 of the Murakari fleet continues toward Earth, but the rest have diverted toward Mars. Mars? Lisa asked. There's nothing there but research stations. Nothing human, Kira corrected, her skin darkening with concern. But there's a Lysarian outpost on the far side of the planet. A small research facility we established years ago to study your solar system. You never mentioned this, Admiral Winters said, her voice sharp. It was not relevant to our immediate defense plans, Kira replied. The outpost is minimally staffed and has no military capabilities. Well, it's relevant now, the Admiral said. The Murakari must have detected it. Could they use anything there against us? Kira's skin pulsed with worried colors. The outpost contains samples of Lysarian technology and biological material. If the Murakari capture these, they could analyze them, find weaknesses in our defenses. Then we need to either defend the outpost or destroy it before they arrive, said a Chinese general who had been listening. We don't have enough ships to split our forces, a Lysarian officer objected. Lisa studied the tactical display and idea forming. What if we don't need to split our forces? What if we use the Mars situation to our advantage? All eyes turned to her. The Murakari think in patterns, right? Lisa continued. They expect us to either defend both positions or focus only on Earth. What if we make them think we're doing one thing while actually doing another? Kira's skin brightened with interest. What do you suggest? We make it look like we're sending a large force to defend Mars, Lisa explained. But it's mostly automated ships and decoys. Meanwhile, we position our real forces in a way they won't expect for the Earth defense. Admiral Winters nodded slowly. A classic feint. It could work. She looked at Kira. What do you think, Commander? Kira's skin showed swirls of deep thought. The Murakari are adaptive, but they base new strategies on observed patterns. If we show them a pattern, then break it in an unexpected way. Her skin suddenly flashed bright. Yes, this could work. The next 3 days were a blur of activity as the plan came together. Earth's remaining satellites were reprogrammed to create false signals suggesting a large defensive fleet heading to Mars. Automated drones and a few small ships were actually sent, programmed to move in ways that mimicked a larger force. Meanwhile, the real defensive fleet, human and Lysarian vessels working together, took up positions in Earth's shadow, hidden from the approaching Murakari. They'll be in range in 6 hours, reported a Lysarian sensor officer. Lisa stood with Kira in the command center. They had barely slept in days, working continuously to prepare the defenses and train the combined forces. Are you ready for this? Lisa asked quietly. Kira's skin showed calm determination now, a steady blue glow. Yes, this is what I was training for all those years after I left Earth. She turned to Lisa. Are you ready? You never expected to fight an alien war? Lisa thought about her quiet life as a park ranger, now a distant memory. I'm ready. This is my world we're defending. And mine too now, Kira said softly. An alert sounded. On the main screen they could see the Murakari fleet approaching Mars, where the decoy force waited. They're taking the bait, Admiral Winters said, watching from her position near the tactical display. Their main fleet is diverting more ships to Mars. The hours that followed were tense. The Murakari engaged the decoy force at Mars, quickly realizing it was smaller than they had expected. But by then, Their forces were committed, split between two fronts. Main Murakari fleet approaching Earth, announced a sensor officer. They'll be in weapon range in 30 minutes. All ships prepare for combat, Kira ordered. Remember the plan? Don't engage until they commit to their attack pattern. The Murakari ships entered Earth orbit, their angular, insect-like designs a stark contrast to the smooth Lysarian vessels and the more utilitarian human spacecraft. They moved in a complex pattern, scanning for defensive forces. They're searching for us, Lisa observed. They know something's wrong. Hold positions, Kira commanded. Wait for them to commit. The minutes ticked by. Finally, the Murakari fleet moved into attack formation, heading for Earth's major cities and military installations, exactly as predicted. Now, Kira ordered. The combined human-Lysarian fleet emerged from hiding, attacking the Murakari from an unexpected direction. The surprise was complete. Lysarian energy weapons sliced through Murakari shields. Human missiles, enhanced with Lysarian technology, hit targets with devastating accuracy. But the Murakari recovered quickly. Their ships began to adapt, changing formation and defensive patterns. 3 Lysarian vessels took heavy damage. A human carrier was destroyed, its crew barely managing to evacuate. Lisa watched from the command center, helping coordinate the human forces. The battle was not going as well as they had hoped. The Murakari were adapting faster than expected. We need something else, she said to Kira. Another surprise. Kira studied the tactical display, her skin dark with concentration. Yes, the Murakari flagship, there. She pointed to a larger vessel at the center of their formation. Their command and control flows from that ship. If we can disable it, even briefly, their coordination will fail. But it's too well protected, Admiral Winters objected. We can't get close enough. Not with a large ship, Lisa said slowly. But what about something smaller? Something they wouldn't consider a threat? Kira looked at her sharply. What are you thinking? My old scout ship, Lisa said. The one I arrived in. It's small, fast, and the Murakari might not recognize it as a weapon platform. It's not designed for combat, Kira protested, and the phase shift drive is experimental. It's never been used as a weapon. Exactly why they won't expect it, Lisa said. She turned to Admiral Winters. If Commander Kira can get close enough to the Murakari flagship, she could activate the phase shift drive at full power. The energy discharge could disrupt their systems long enough for our main fleet to break through their defenses. Admiral Winters frowned. It's a suicide mission. Not necessarily, Kira said, her mind working quickly. If I time the phase shift correctly, I might be able to jump away before the full discharge hits. It would be difficult, but possible. The Admiral looked between them. It's your call, Commander. It's your ship. Kira's skin showed ripples of conflicting emotions. I'll do it. Not alone, Lisa said firmly. I'm coming with you. Kira started to object, but Lisa cut her off. You'll need someone to help manage the systems while you focus on flying and timing the phase shift. And I've been training on Lysarian technology for 2 weeks now. After a moment, Kira nodded. Very well. They moved quickly after that. The scout ship was prepared, its systems optimized for the dangerous mission. As they boarded, Admiral Winters gave them a final nod. Good luck, she said simply. The fate of 2 worlds rests with you now. Inside the small ship, Lisa took the secondary position while Kira sat at the main controls. The scout vessel hummed to life around them, its systems responding to Kira's touch. Ready? Kira asked, her skin glowing with a mix of determination and concern. Ready, Lisa confirmed. Let's save our worlds. The scout ship launched, darting away from the command vessel and toward the heart of the battle. Kira flew with incredible skill, weaving through the chaos of combat, avoiding fire from both sides. We're being scanned, Lisa reported, watching the sensor readings. The Murakari have noticed us. Good, Kira said. But they don't see us as a primary threat. Their main weapons are still focused on our larger ships.